Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's Buckabread96 here with my final Bakugan Ultra Fusion little mini series. After this I will be focusing on the core fusions from Bakugan Armored Alliance. Now again, those will be native or show accurate factions, so very excited to get those videos rolling out probably mid next week into the week after that. Because I do have quite a few videos pre-loaded. So be sure to stay tuned. Those will be rolling out each day until the next series. But anyway, on to this video. I'm going to be taking a look at another Darkus Aurelus fusion. This one, of course, being the villain, Sabra, and the Aurelus Bakugan Pyravian Ultra. So sadly, and this video is probably going to be a little confusing, but Sabra was never given a proper Bakugan mold on its own. So I am using a stand-in, that being, of course, the Armored Alliance Nillious Ultra, which is a little odd, I know, right? Not the same Bakugan, but hear me out. The only reason I'm doing this is because the core Nillious from Armored Alliance I will be using in the core fusions, obviously because it goes with Enoch, but I chose Nillious for this video because of the card art. So if we take a look at the card for Sabra and Pyravian, that is clearly Nillious. Like, I don't care what anyone says, down to the eye color, to the very design of Armored Alliance Nillious, that is an exact match. And I do have the character cards to kind of prove it. I mean, it really is dead on, in my opinion. I'm not sure if this was just a design flaw or if this was intentional. And then maybe the writers just changed it so Nillious wasn't, quote, the big bad villain. Because Nillious being sort of an anti-hero in the middle character, just like Magnus in the storyline, I do kind of get why they would stray away from Nillious being the main fusion. So yeah, you know what? They did a Nillious clone, and of course Sabra in the show does look a lot like Nillious, aside from the whole 5-head Tiamat dragon gimmick, that of course is shown in the actual fusion. Otherwise, you know what? It's Nillious. I think it was supposed to be Nillious, but the writers changed it last minute. That's just my opinion. I don't have any facts on that. But, just by the artwork alone, it's just, like, really obvious, right? Like, you can't stray away from that. But moving on to the figures, right? Because this is what the series is supposed to be about. I will go ahead and start out with Pyravian. So this was the only version of Pyravian that I got. It was released in Pyrus, Ventus, Chaos, and Aquas. So I think the only faction it didn't release in was Darkus, which honestly probably would have been the coolest. But Aurelus is the native faction for Pyravian, and here it is opened up. So we do have two manual little feathers here on the back that go with, I believe, is the tail. Because we do have the feet here on the sides molded in. And then there's the head. A good bit of detail, not too many, but a lot of Battle Planet molds. There's just a lot of complexity to this figure, a lot of spring work, a lot of mechanism. I talk about that a lot with these Battle Planet Bakugan because it's just the fact of the matter. But again, we do have some nice detailing in the interior, the tail, the side body. I think there's, excuse me, right under there are feathers on the wings, which really nice. Good bit of detail there. And the head does have some detail on its own. We do get a small beak. Honestly, you'd think it's a little bigger, but not really. Pyravian's just kind of a different type of bird, phoenix type Bakugan, so the small beak actually fits. Really good detail there. Really nice mold, not a lot to it, as interesting as it is and detailed. It's also very simple, especially when closing. But moving on, I'll go ahead and go into Nillious, aka, for the purposes of this video, Sabra. So I think the Nillious only has the one manual feature, which of course is the heads. Again with the two-toned eye colors, which is just a really nice detail. You get the idea that they are separate brains, you know, kind of a cool concept. The other spring-loaded interior is the arms and legs, which really a lot of detail. This is probably one of the best, I guess, sculpted Nillious molds in my opinion. Just like from the perspective of the actual monster form to ball form, it just almost looks completely like so. You can't even really tell that it's much of a sphere, except for maybe the shape of the wings. Otherwise, it folds out really nicely. Love the sculpt, the way the scales of the neck go straight into the body. And there's plates on the upper leg. Really nice. And the tail also has the scale spine work all the way down. Exterior paint, pretty nice, you know, a very dark purple. The tail having a little lighter strip. Kind of nice, honestly, gives it a dual-toned look. A few green specks here and there for the claws and exterior. Very nice. But by far the best has got to be the actual fusion. Mine does bend a little bit, unfortunately. But here we go. So this is the fusion of Pyravian and Sabra, the native faction. Quite a hard Bakugan to get. You know, it goes from anywhere from $40 to $80, with listings going all the way up to the hundreds. I think 100 is a little ridiculous, but apparently this ended up being a rare Bakugan to get your hands on. And you can see why. It's so cool, and obviously any kind of native, show-accurate Bakugan is going to be like that. But really nice. There's the Pyravian head. It's all gold for the Aurelus. That's really cool. The gold on the wings and the feathering, just a ton of detail. Simple design, you know, these on mine have warped a little bit. They're not exactly sitting where they should. Causes a little bit of problem when closing, but nothing too bad. You know, nothing that I can't figure out, which is all good. All the heads, right? The 5 heads are pretty cool. The only, I don't know, it would have been really nice to have all colored factions for the heads, like the character card. I guess you could do a custom paint, but that'd be really hard because I wouldn't want to mess up the springs, right? You'd want it functional. That would be really nice. But yeah, all in all, a really awesome fusion. A good way to close out this series. Now, none of these I'm going to try to close on camera. For one, my Sabra is a little janky and doesn't like to close. Pyravian is a pain. And Nillious, I don't know, I just don't want to really waste the time fumbling on camera for these. But, you know, regardless, I hope you all enjoyed taking a look at the figures. I know I didn't pull out the character cards on the other Bakugan. I did want to focus on the figures themselves, unfortunately. But for this video, I felt it necessary to kind of explain why I chose Nillious in place of Sabra. You know, it was a good excuse to take a look at the Nillious Ultra mold because it never got a fusion. And then again, you know, it just fits via the artwork. But yeah, really awesome fusion. It would have been cool if they made it canon that Nillious was the one that fused with Pyravian. I think that would have been a lot better for the story. And you could have tied it in with, being controlled by Sabra or something, right? It didn't have to be Nillious was the villain. There was something you could have worked with. And of course, Pyravian being on the Supreme Council showed up very early on in the show to help out the awesome ones. But that'll be it for the video. Everyone, thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe, make my content possible, and help out. It is tremendous. And I thank you all. You know, every one of you watching my videos, supporting me through the years has been amazing. And I couldn't have this opportunity without you. So until next time, stay safe, drum up, and you know that was supposed to be Nillious.